Monday it was all A's as they pounded out 10 runs on 5 home runs from 5 different athletics. They breezed by the Detroit Tigers in front of a holiday sellout crowd. Last night, the Tigers' bats awoke as the reigning MVP took charge early. But in typical green and gold fashion, Bob Melvin and the boys rallied to take the lead, only to lose it in the late innings by some familiar faces and foes. Tonight, the 2 top teams in the American League are at it again as it's Game 3 from the Coliseum. Tigers, A's, and it starts right now. Well, this 4-game series continues tonight at the Coliseum, and each team has won a game in the series. Is Coco Crisp a good guy or what? This youngster needs a new pair of spikes. Coco takes care of it. Not a bad night at the ballpark, and the game hasn't even started yet. Game 3 of the 4-game series is coming up. It's the Oakland A's. It's the Detroit Tigers. It's coming up on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Shooty Babbitt, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Pitching matchup tonight, Anibal Sanchez and Scott Kazmir, a lefty and a righty. And Kazmir's going to have to control a lineup that's full of quality right-handed hitters.
Well, in order for Kazmir to have some success tonight, he's basically going to have to mirror the type of performance that Tommy Malone had. He pitched the guys inside, he stood those big right-handers up, and he was able to create soft contact away. In order for Kazmir to do that, he's got to establish that fastball in right away.
And Anibal Sanchez is just trying to get a feel. He's been in and out, DL, so he's had a little bit of a rough start.
It's been a rough start for him from the day spring training started. Had some finger problems, had some shoulder problems, but this guy's stuff takes a backseat to no one on his staff. 4 pitches, 3 of them that he can get you out with. If he gets in a rhythm, it can be a long night for the A's. So they've got to get on base, get him in the stretch, make him make a couple of mistakes.
Torrey Hunter has 26 career home runs against the A's, another big one last night, and he has just always been a tough out for the Athletics.
I think what the A's are going to have to do is make sure that you get these right-handed hitters on their front foot, keep that gluteus maximus out of the swing, because there's a lot of power in these big guys, and that's when the problem starts.
And the home run last night tied up the game in the 7th inning, and the Tigers would go on to win it. So a big home run last night. He's been around a long time, but still a terrific hitter, and he has always been tough on the Athletics. So Game 3 of the series is coming up from the Coliseum. Should be another great night of baseball. The 2 best teams in the American League, record-wise, are set to square off. We'll have lineups at first pitch. It's the A's and the Tigers coming up.
California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try the new Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet. And by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
Scott Kazmir and the Oakland A's take the field, and we are moments away from first pitch, Game 3 of this 4-game series. The game time weather is presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Beautiful night. 70 degrees, nice little breeze. And we're looking forward to another entertaining game. Of course, on Monday it was a blowout win for the A's. Last night, a good, entertaining game, but Tigers scored a couple runs late and beat the A's 6-5. And no reason to think that tonight's game won't be entertaining as well. Two very good baseball teams. Here's the lineup tonight for the Tigers. That's the leadoff hitter, Rajai Davis, followed by Kinsler, Cabrera, Martinez, Hunter, J.D. Martinez, and then Alex Avila, Nick Castellanos, and Danny Worth.
Well, Scott Kazmir has a tough task tonight. Tommy Malone showed him how to get it done. The Detroit Tigers are a very aggressive team. Brad Ausmus has stacked this club with right-hand hitters tonight to try to make Scott Kazmir get in the stretch a little bit. But guy has great feel. He has good touch. Going to have to keep these guys off balance tonight, Glenn.
So Kazmir will indeed try to do that as Rajai Davis steps in. And we are ready for baseball from the Coliseum. So Kazmir kicks, and the first pitch of the ball game to Davis is a bit outside. Close pitch.
7-0-7.
So Kazmir against Anibal Sanchez is your pitching matchup tonight. Rajai Davis, lots of playing time with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. Davis hitting .287. And this one hit the shallow left center field. Coco on the move, and Coco can't get it. So Rajai Davis will have a loop single to lead off the ball game. A's defensively are lining up with Coco Crisp in center field. You saw him with that diving attempt on the ball hit by Davis. He'll be flanked by Cespedes in left and Reddick at right. And then Donaldson, Lowry, Sogard, and Moss on the infield with Derek Norris catching Scott Kazmir. So you got the lineups, you got the defense, and you got Scott Kazmir. So Davis aboard, and here's Ian Kinsler. Talked a lot about what happened last night, and very, very seldom does a pinch runner become the star of the game, but that was the case last night with Rajai Davis. Made a gutsy play at second base, got to third, and scored the go-ahead run. Shooty, we talked about it earlier this afternoon. My point to you was to do what Rajai Davis did last night. You got to have some guts, because if you get thrown out, then you're the GOAT. But he wasn't worried about it, obviously, and he pulled it off. This is the play we're talking about.
Well, not only do you have to have guts, you have to have some smarts as well. This play was thought about a couple of days ago. Rajai Davis picked up a read of Derek Norris, who perhaps may get a little relaxed and throwing the ball back to the pitcher. As a base runner, one thing that you like to do is see that catcher drop down to his knees, because then he's basically defensive.
Davis with a big lead at first. Bluffs going. Kinsler swings and misses, and it got Davis to third with one out, and then he ended up scoring what turned out to be the winning run. He's at first with Kinsler in the box and Miguel Cabrera waiting in the on-deck circle. Davis not running. Kinsler hits one high and deep down the left field line, but it is foul. Plenty of distance, even though Kinsler was out on his front foot.
One thing that speed guys do is that they create havoc, not so much out on the base paths, but what the effect that they have on the pitcher. Right away, Scott Kazmir finds himself in somewhat of a pressurized situation. Rajai Davis has got a lot to do with that.
Davis gets back. Tigers come in 29-19 after their win last night. They've still, overall, have lost 7 out of their last 9, but they have a 5-game lead in the Central over the White Sox. Davis not running. Kinsler hits it hard to Donaldson, who scoops it up out at second, and that's a double play. So Rajai Davis, keep thinking he's going to go. He didn't, and Kinsler hits into the 5-4-3 double play.
Scott Kazmir having the type of command that he has, the Detroit Tigers feel that they can go up there looking for a particular pitch because this is a guy that attacks every part of the zone. Kazmir gives them something up in their eyes that they think they could handle, probably looking for something else, and that's why he was able to create a double play ground ball.
So 2 outs, and Miguel Cabrera steps in. Cabrera rips one to right field. Reddick in the sunshine. He's got it, side retired. So double play helps Kazmir, and it keeps the Tigers off the board in the top of the first. At the Coliseum. And let's check out their lineup tonight. Coco Crisp is going to lead off. That guy right there, John Jaso. He's going to hit second. He's going to be the designated hitter. Then it's Donaldson, Moss, Cespedes, Lowry, Norris, Reddick, and Sogard. And Shooty, who are they going to face?
They're going to face Anibal Sanchez, a young man who has a complete repertoire of pitches. Fastball, curveball, changeup, slider, a very rhythmic pitcher. Once he gets in a great rhythm, he can carve you up in a hurry. He is a strike thrower, so he's going to possess a pretty good command of the strike zone tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how the A's go about facing this guy.
Anibal Sanchez, the 30-year-old right-hander, is set to go. And he kicks in his first pitch of the game to Coco is in for a strike. Coco hitting .239 with 3 home runs, 14 RBIs. He's got a home run in his career against Sanchez. Rajai Davis comes in, and Rajai playing shallow. He'll get there. So 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Defensively for the Tigers, J.D. Martinez in left. Saw Davis in center. Torrey Hunter's in right. Castellanos, Worth, Kinsler, Cabrera on the infield with Alex Avila doing the catching. Shooty, we mentioned a little bit about Anibal Sanchez. We talked about him in our open, and it's been a strange year for him. He's been on the disabled list already, and he has also, he had a start a little while back where it rained and he only went 2 2/3 innings. So he has not pitched a lot of innings this year. This is his 8th start. So in his first 7 starts, he's only thrown 35 innings. So he just has not been able to get into that 6-7 inning starts that quite frankly, that's what he's all about. Has not been the case just yet. That is what Torrey Hunter is looking at. He's not going to be looking at it much longer, as by the time he goes back out there for the bottom of the second inning, that he'll probably be in the shade. 1-2 to Jaso. More action for Rajai Davis over into left center field, and Davis has that, 2 outs.
When people talk about the Detroit Tigers and you start talking about starting pitches, the first thing you think about is Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Cy Young Award winners, true #1 starters. Anibal Sanchez was the ERA leader in the American League in 2013. This guy was pretty good, and who knows, maybe the amount of innings that he threw last year are basically what's troubling him a little bit early on this year.
Hey, he was 14-8, and that ERA was 2.57. There's the numbers. Had 202 strikeouts in 182 innings, so good numbers for the ERA leader last year. You know, the Tigers feel good about their staff. Sanchez, an ERA leader. So you have the ERA leader and the Cy Young Award winner, and neither of those two guys are Verlander.
And we're talking about a #4 starter here. I mean, one benchmark for starting pitchers is normally about 200 innings. And when you have a guy that's your #4 starter and can provide 182 and lead the ERA title as well, that's pretty big.
Big overhand curve, and it's 2-2 to Donaldson. Tigers this year 6th in the American League in team ERA at 3.92. So what's happened to the Tigers lately is that pitching is getting knocked around in a big way. Swing and a miss. Been a good first inning for Anibal Sanchez. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of flyouts and a strikeout. No score after 1.
The Oakland A's and Scott Kazmir has to be an engineer. Follow the blueprint that Tommy Malone was able to apply to keep these big bashers up at the plate with nobody on base. And one thing that the A's definitely have to do is try to disrupt Anibal Sanchez's rhythm, get him in the stretch a little bit.
So Kazmir will face Victor Martinez, Torrey Hunter, and J.D. Martinez. Kazmir got Kinsler to hit into a double play. That was a big part of the top of the first inning. Average of 341. tops in the American League. Good curveball, and it's 0-2. Top 5 hitters in the American League is Martinez, Cano, Rios, Cabrera, and Alexi Ramirez. Kinsler is 6th this year. Top batting averages in the AL. Kazmir reaches out, grabs it to first, and that's out number 1. So here's Torrey Hunter.
Fifth position, right fielder, number 48, Torrey Hunter.
A lot of cat and mouse games go on in the game, in between the game. The Detroit Tigers know which way Tommy Malone came at them. They figured that Kazmir would do the same. Kazmir might, but he just may pitch backwards a little bit.
There's a line drive just out of the reach of the leaping Lowry. So Torrey Hunter decided, I'm not going to wait around. If I see a fastball on that first pitch, I'm going to take a rip at it, and he did.
Sitting on deck, Victor Martinez took a fastball right down the middle first pitch. Torrey Hunter, being the great student of hitting that he is, just like you said, Glenn, saw something to hit, and he got on it right away. Lowry showing a little verticality there.
And good jumping ability, too. Did you get that one? Good jumping ability.
Oh, I got that, Glenn.
Shooting. Make sure you're all right over there. Here's J.D. Martinez. 280 with a couple of home runs for Martinez. Tap toward Donaldson. Big hop. Guns it to second for 1. Back to first. Got it. Very close play, but a double play. And keep an eye out for Brad Ausmus. And he's going to come out and he's going to check with Paul Emmel. So A's players are kind of hanging around. They're going to stay out near the playing surface. Max Scherzer got the phone call, and he gave the thumbs up to Brad Ausmus. And thumbs up means, you know what? Us Tiger folks in that dugout, Scherzer says, we think he was safe.
Wasn't that close to me, Glenn, first looking at it. I thought Sogard did a pretty good job of getting out of the way of the runner trying to break up the double play.
It is very close. I think he's probably safe. But is there enough evidence?
The on the field, the runner at first base was out.
What do you think, Shooty?
Very close. I think one thing that you see with Brandon Moss here early on is that he didn't commit to stretching out there and trying to cheat a little bit. One thing that you see with the first basemen now, they spend a lot of time coming off the bag very quickly and trying to basically sell the play to the umpire. I feel if Brandon had did a better job of selling it, it probably wouldn't have been as close as it was. And I think that gave the Tigers an opportunity to get a better look at that play.
So the Tigers challenging the out call. That is Jerry Meals, the crew chief, on the right.
You know, as I look at this play, one thing about Torrey Hunter and the slide that he made, a lot of times that guy is called out because of the runner barreling down on the second baseman has to show that he's able to reach second base as well as go after the runner. And if you look at Torrey Hunter on this play, he was he was way inside the baseline there. I don't think he had a chance to get the bag there. So can you have a double challenge?
That's a good call. A double challenge where both managers would be right.
You're exactly right.
All right, here we go. Jerry Meals getting ready to take the headset off. And he's safe. Well, from our view, it was very close, but it looked like that's probably the right call, that he was safe. So Max Scherzer on the phone, letting his manager know what call was from the Tiger folks, probably down in their clubhouse. So it's a fielder's choice. So 1 minute and 49 seconds it took to check the replay. So Martinez is aboard with 2 outs. Here's Alex Avila. First pitch to Avila is in first strike. Avila hitting .230 with 4 home runs, 13 RBIs.
One thing that's quite obvious right away, Scott Kazmir is pounding the strike zone early on with his fastball, keeping it down in the strike zone.
Swing and a miss. 92 miles an hour. Avila behind in the count.
When you're able to do this, now it sets up your secondary stuff. He was already able to create a couple of weak ground balls where he can get out of innings with double plays. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the last play that was called, but that has to be the game plan if you're Scott Kazmir. Create a bunch of soft contact.
Pretty good 0-2 pitch right there. Avila actually hitting just a little bit better against left-handed pitching this year, although not a great deal of at-bats. I think that pitch was off the plate a little bit. Your umpiring crew for tonight. And that one skips away from Norris. He can't find it. And when he does find it, he's got to run back to get it. Martinez stops at second. So it's a wild pitch. So a runner in scoring position for the Tigers.
One of the toughest balls to block for a catcher is that ball that short hops. You can read spin in the dirt. You can anticipate the action on the ball. But when you bounce it in front of the plate like that, you're basically at the mercy of which way that ball is going to bounce, because you try to soften the blow by creating a soft cushion with your chest there. But there, you're just trying to get your body in front and try to knock that ball down any way that you can.
So 2-2 to Avila. Martinez is the runner at second, and the pitch is inside. So now full count.
Then on the new year, Joseph Abu, suits made in the USA.
When you are a team that plays a type of baseball that the A's do, every day you come out here 2:30 or 3 o'clock, the A's are always working on drills to improve their skills. Right away, Derek Norris is getting tested with some of his early work.
Ball hit hard, but Lowry, the shortstop, playing right behind second base, so pretty good positioning by the Athletics. Lowry scoops it up and throws out Avila at second, or at first base. No scores. We head to the bottom of the second. It's brought to you by Real Strong Redwood. Learn more at realstrongredwood.com. Bottom of the second inning, no score. A couple of hits for the Tigers. A's went 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the first. So it'll be Moss, Cespedes, and Lowry against Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez had a strikeout in the first inning. And he pours a fastball in for a strike. Actually, not a fastball, something, maybe a little changeup, 83 miles an hour, but steals a first pitch strike. 0-1 pitch is rolled foul. See Moss tied for third in the league in RBIs. It goes Nelson Cruz with 46, Miguel Cabrera with 44, and then Moss and Jose Abreu, who is still on the disabled list, with 42. Also, Edwin Encarnacion from Toronto has 42. So good company if you're Brandon Moss. 0-2 pitch, lined, and it's just fouled. Shift is on. He was trying to find an opening. So those runs batted in numbers coming into today's action. So that could certainly change. And with those guys, it probably will. I think Nelson Cruz has hit a couple of home runs today. What a surprise.
Unbelievably that he was out there as long as he was this year as a free agent.
Moss could not quite hold up. So that's second strikeout for Sanchez.
Very difficult to hold up on a fastball up in the zone there, especially when you have a pitcher like Anibal Sanchez that basically showed you a combination of everything that he's capable of throwing. Hadn't been predictable yet. Each hitter he's pitched him differently here in the second inning. Has really established his fastball early on, and now he's kind of got the A's off balance.
Here's Cespedes. Cespedes, first pitch swinging, hits it high and foul. So 0-1. Cespedes hitting .247 with 9 home runs and 31 runs batted in. Happy youngster down the right field line. Quick 0-2. So Anibal Sanchez is throwing strikes today. He's thrown 17 pitches. 14 of them have been strikes.
Glenn, if you look at Anibal Sanchez on the hill, this is a young man that was drafted by the Red Sox in 2001. He had the privilege of coming up under Pedro Martinez, being around Louis Tiant somewhat.
Can't help but learn from those guys, especially Pedro.
Well, everything is remade for him. He was a max effort 95 to 96 guy, just blowing the ball by guys. Watching Pedro Martinez, incorporated a little shoulder turn in his delivery to create some deception, and has picked up a lot of his skills as far as going about getting hitters out.
That one hit toward the gap in left center field. Rajai Davis diving in. He caught it. Wow. I think Rajai's having fun.
When Rajai was here in Oakland, one of the knocks on him was sometimes taking bad routes on balls hitting the outfield. This ball here was ran down by speed alone. Rajai's been playing a lot of left field, and it's very difficult to move to left to center field because now, instead of answering to your center fielder, you become the commander out there. When the ball goes up, you have to be a ball hog out there, and right away, Rajai got a great jump on that ball and just ran it down with pure speed.
So 2 outs. Here's Lowry. First pitch strike. So right now Sanchez is extremely sharp. It's early yet. Lowry, more action for Rajai Davis. He's got to come in on this one. And Rajai getting his exercise in, makes the catch. Side retired. 6 up, 6 down for Anibal Sanchez. No score as we head to the third.
Welcome to March Wednesday.
Every A's game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or your tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, get scores, stats, audio. Go to free MLB TV Game of the Day and more. Download on the App Store or visit athletics.com today.
Little food, little phone, you're all set. We're set for the top of the third. Castellanos, Worth, and then the top of the order, Rajai Davis. Breaking ball, floats in first try. Keeping an eye on that Angels game. The Angels and the Mariners, no score in the second inning. That's the third of a 4-game series. Each team has won a game. And how about that pitching matchup? C.J. Wilson against Felix Hernandez. That's a good one.
The King.
That'd be a good one to watch on MLB TV if we weren't doing the game here, Shooty.
Well, fans, log on to your app and watch the A's versus the Tigers.
The Angels in hot pursuit of the A's. Angels are just a game and a half out in the AL West, and the Angels will be here Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3-game set. So that could be an interesting series, even though it's still early in the season. Change up, and Castellanos chased it, and that's out number 1.
Well, one impressive thing right away, Glenn, is both pitchers are pounding the strike zone. And what that allows the pitcher to do is kind of expand a little bit, because now you have hitters with a mindset that they have to be aggressive when they come to the plate, because both guys are throwing strikes. Through 2 innings, both pitchers had a total of 40 pitches, 20 apiece. So very efficient, very sufficient. A lot of action around the catcher's mitt today.
Here's Danny Worth. Worth getting a start at shortstop. 50% fastballs for Scott Kazmir. He likes the changeup, 20%.
Looks like your portfolio, Glenn. %50 in the S&P.
Wish. Ain't that smart, Shooty? You know that.
As a defender, you love to play behind pitchers like this. They keep you on your toes. They keep you involved in the game, anticipating that every ball is going to be hit to you. No better feeling to be out there knowing that there's a chance you have to make a great play behind your starting pitcher.
Blocked by Norris. 1-2 to Worth. The Rangers are leading the Twins 1-0 in the 7th inning in Minnesota. Texas right at the 500 mark. 2-2 now to Worth. So after tomorrow's game, the A's will be at the 1/3 point in their season. Today is game number 53. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kazmir here in the 3rd.
We looked at that graphic of what Scott Kazmir was offering. Fastball right down the middle of the plate, but when you have 3 other pitches that you can go to, what that does is make you unpredictable. I mean, this is a fastball that's basically just average major league speed, because in the back of their mind, seeing that pitch, that's something they can wait on and basically do some damage with. But when you have that changeup coming, that always is the equalizer.
Top of the order, Rajai Davis. Davis hits one well down the line. Cespedes near the wall, and it is off the wall. Cespedes got a good bounce, gets it back in quickly, and Davis just in, sliding safely, barely.
Tremendous play by Yoenis Cespedes in left field. Rajai Davis is probably the only man in baseball that would have beaten this play out. Right away, he's busting out of the box. Yoenis Cespedes plays it perfectly off the wall, barehands it, makes a strong throw. Rajai Davis with a great slide to the outside part of the bag. That's the only reason why he was able to make that play. Rajai Davis turning on the afterburners after he saw that ball wasn't out of the ballpark.
Sogard holding the tag, doing the right thing, but it's a double for Rajai Davis. He's 2 for 2 tonight against Kazmir, 9 for 17 in his career. Pickoff, close play, well executed by the A's, but Davis gets back.
Rajai can claim somewhat ownage on Scott Kazmir.
First pitch to Kinsler is a fastball for a strike. Kinsler hit into a 5-4-3 double play in the first inning. So he's 0 for 6 in the series. He had Monday off. Taps the changeup foul. So now Kazmir ahead in the count, 0-2, so he can what he wants here with Kinsler. Sogard trying to keep Rajai Davis close, and that one is right there. Strike 3 call. So Kinsler strikes out with a runner at second base, and the Tigers do not score. no score between the A's and the Tigers in Game 3 of the series. It'll be a day game tomorrow. We will not be televising tomorrow, so you can listen to it on 95.7 The Game. But tonight, Kazmir and Sanchez, both with good stuff early on. These do not have a hit through the first couple innings as Sanchez faces Norris, Reddick, and Sogard, and a fastball for a strike. Norris 1 for 6 in this series, the average at .314. That one didn't miss by much, so even when Sanchez has a ball called, it's right around the plate. So 2-1 to Norris.
Glenn, when you're breaking down a pitcher and his qualities, repeating his delivery is so important. And we're talking about pitchers here. We're not talking about throwers. And that's a very important element here.
Good pitch there, 2-2.
Yesterday you asked me about touch and feel. The ability to repeat your delivery is what allows you to create some deception. As a hitter, you're always looking for something to pick up. Maybe a guy speeding up his arm, not lifting his leg up as high. Anibal Sanchez does a tremendous job repeating his delivery.
Here comes Rajay Davis again, and Rajay with another catch. One out here in the third. Here's our Ford right choice. Game 3 of the division series last year. Anibal Sanchez got the start, and the A's took him deep. Josh Reddick in the 4th inning. Brandon Moss in the 5th inning. And then a couple batters later, Seth Smith. Boom. The A's would win Game 3 by a final score of 6-3. Anibal Sanchez not sharp that day, so the A's gave him an L. A's also beat him in the 2012 division series. So 0-2 in those 2 seasons in that division series against the Athletics. So after that game, the A's were feeling pretty good. Win one more and you're moving on. There was a time in Game 4 where you started to think that that was going to happen. Unfortunately, the Tigers came back. 3-0 to Reddick. Reddick hitting in the A spot, hitting .217 with 4 home runs.
It's no coincidence when you see highlights of home runs where those pitches are made. Middle, always a mistake pitch.
And Reddick takes a 4-pitch walk, so that's the first base runner for the A's. So we'll see if Anibal Sanchez is a different pitcher when he gets in the stretch. We were talking about the delivery shooting. So it would seem to make sense that if you want to be able to repeat your delivery, that's very important for a pitcher, then it's important to have a simple delivery. And I would say Sanchez, he does have that little Louis T on turn, but there's not a lot else. Lifts the leg up, does the little turn, and there he goes. That's a pretty simple delivery. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I think what that does is allow him to be consistent, not overthrow. Max Scherzer is a pitcher who came in the league with a very violent head jerk, unorthodox arm action. And he's also a guy who's calmed down his delivery a little bit and simplified things a little bit. And when you look at Sanchez out there, and I mentioned Louis Tion, his whole body would normally turn and he would be facing the second baseman or the shortstop, trying to create an illusion, trying to hide the baseball. And that's what Sanchez does pretty good, hide the baseball.
Quick throw, and diving back is Reddick. And you know, that's really something too that is good for, you know, maybe younger kids who are pitching or learning how to pitch, just starting, maybe teenagers. Thinking that by rocking back and reaching way back, you're going to get more velocity. Where probably the smart thing to do is just to make your delivery as simple as possible. Just lift up your leg and then go from there.
Tiger Woods' dad always said, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Sogard bounces it to Cabrera. Fires to second for one. Back to first. Sanchez covering, and they got it. 3-6-1 on the double play. Nicely done by the Tigers. We're headed to the fourth. No score. Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by 22 Jump Street in theaters starting June 13th. No score, top of the fourth inning from the Coliseum. If you're not in your seat, check out the jersey or hat. Make a purchase. Sweatshirt. Plenty of good stuff to choose from. See, that's what I've always thought was kind of cool about the A's is no other Major League Baseball team has their colors. There's only one team that's green and gold. So if you're wearing it, and everybody knows that you're an A's fan. Look at that. Now, could that guy be a fan of any other team except the Oakland A's? No.
The Green Bay Packers.
You could be a Packer fan, that's true. Stick it to summertime.
Yeah.
Seattle Supersonics. Did he go? No. See if he went.
I've witnessed Miguel Cabrera getting called out and kicked out of the game on a better check swing than that.
And then he rips one towards center. Crisp is back. He's near the wall, and Coco has it. Just enough time to brace himself, and that's out number one. So Cabrera hit it well, but Coco makes the catch.
Big man with short arms with great extension. Miguel Cabrera doesn't need a lot of room to create some leverage. That ball wasn't hit greatly, but it still traveled a long way in center field here at O.K. Ball's traveling a little bit tonight, Glenn.
My guess is Cabrera probably didn't hit that well. Victor Martinez again goes after the first pitch, and Reddick has it for out number two.
Talking about consistency and strike throwing. How about the ageless wonder Bartolo Colon tonight? 7 innings pitched, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, 121 pitches, and 85 strikes.
And 120 fastballs.
Unreal.
Good for him.
Strike throwing machine.
We loved Bartolo Colon. First pitch to Torrey Hunter is inside. Scott Kazmir at home. 1.91 ERA. Tommy Milone, the best home ERA in the American League.
You've heard hitters complain about how difficult it is to drive the ball out of the ballpark here. You never hear the pitchers complaining about the confines.
You're right. Boy, he said, Shooty, if you have a, you always hear hitters complaining if it's a pitcher's park. But that means 13 hitters are unhappy. That means 12 pitchers are happy. And if you're winning, then it doesn't matter who's happy or unhappy. That means your ballpark is being good to you. And this one is. But remember when Petco Park in San Diego was built, and it's a very big yard, and you got to hit one good in. I mean, they had some veteran players who, I mean, they acted like this place is the worst thing I've ever seen, and they didn't last long. I'd have gotten rid of them too. Coco on the move again, nearing the wall, and he leaps, and Torrey Hunter has done it again. This time he goes to right center, and it gives the Tigers a 1-0 lead. So home run number 8 for Torrey Hunter on the year, and career home run number 322.
Well, when you look at Scott Kazmir, and you hate to keep talking about Tommy Milone in the way that he had success, but what he was able to do was jam Torrey Hunter. Keep him off the fat part of the bat. Keep him from extending his arms. He's so strong, he can hit the ball out of any part of the ballpark, but you have to shorten his swing up somehow.
First pitch to J.D. Martinez. He swings and misses.
Torrey Hunter likes to sit on that back side, as you see here. If you can get him out on his front foot and kind of cripple him a little bit so he's only using his hands, but when you sit there and you watch him dig both feet in and get that leverage there, he's going to drive the ball a long way.
0-2 to Martinez. So that's the 3rd home run in the series for the Tigers. Long look in by Kazmir. Now he's ready. Fastball fouled to the screen.
Glenn, when you see right-handed hitters, we talk about the difference between left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters can get out on their front foot, but they can still hook you out of the ballpark because of the length in their swing. Right-handers need to extend their arms in order to create leverage. Leverage is where they get their power from.
High pop-up, foul territory. Reddick hustling over, and Reddick caught it and then dropped it. Boy, he ran a long ways. I didn't think he was going to have any chance to even get there, and he did, and then he actually overran it just a little bit.
Very difficult to criticize Josh Reddick, one of the top right fielders in all of baseball. We talked about yesterday that long run that you have to make here at the Coliseum in foul territory, but when you run across that dirt, it just does something to your mind. It kind of messed your route up a little bit, and it kind of made Josh Reddick kind of go off course a little bit.
More action for Reddick, hustling over, and Reddick grabs this one. Attaboy, Josh. So another outfielder getting his wind sprints in, and that's a nice play. Torrey Hunter a homer, and the Tigers lead 1-0.
and A's will get together for the second A's Community Fund Bowling Bash, presented by Chevron and Lagunitas and supported by Crystal Clear Imaging and Sharp Investments. The bash takes place on Saturday, June 21st at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. Proceeds benefit the A's Community Fund.
So Torrey Hunter with a home run to give the Tigers a 1-0 lead. The A's will have the top of their order up. First pitch to Coco Crisp is a bit high. Anibal Sanchez, how is he in shutdown innings? A little below the league average. Good pitch there, drops it in on the outside corner. Mariners have taken a 2-0 lead over the Angels in the fourth inning. Mike Zunino with a 2-run single. Pretty good looking young catcher shooting Mike Zunino.
#1 draft pick, #1 player chosen overall out of Florida. Hometown product out of Redwood City. His dad, Greg Zunino, was a pretty good player.
Yeah. Doing a good job. 2-2 pitch, hit high in the air to right. Playable for Torrey Hunter, who is under it, and Hunter has it, and that's out #1. So Coco with a couple of fly ball outs, so Coco struggling some.
Now batting, designated hitter, #5, John Jaso.
That'll bring up John Jaso, who also hit a fly ball to Rajai Davis in center in the first inning.
You watch Sanchez go about his business out there. He's just too comfortable. One thing about him, he doesn't field his position very well, doesn't hold base runners on very good. So the A's are going to have to find something to get him out of his comfort zone.
And the A's still looking for their first hit. They've had one base runner. That was Reddick's walk in the third, but he was erased on the double play. Big home run last night for John Jaso.
What was so impressive about this guy had just got drilled a couple of innings early on, and his arm swelled up with a hickey the size of a baseball. But talk about showing some fortitude and some toughness. John Jaso is a real man.
Setting up inside, and Sanchez is able to get it inside. So this is what happened. Shuey said he got hit. Initially it was called a foul ball, but he gets hit in the left arm, and it swelled up in about a half a second. It was crazy. Now he's going to show it, and there it is. Oh, man.
Swelling up by the second. For some reason, you watch the way that the Tigers are attacking Jaso the past couple of days. He was also almost hit by a ball that bounced up to the plate, and they're constantly trying to jam him. In that situation last night, Scherzer couldn't get the ball in, and Jaso just twisted on him.
That curveball, 70 miles an hour. Jaso, he did the best he could to wait back, and he just fouled it at the plate.
You know what's even more difficult for a hitter? You watch John Jaso here, pull hitter. The Tigers are playing him dead pull in this. I mean, look at the shift that they have going on out here. I mean, anything hit to the left side is automatic.
Castellanos, the third baseman, is the guy that's out in short right field. So Danny Worth is still the short. He's at his shortstop spot. The gentleman in short right field is Castellanos.
And Sanchez is just demanding that he pulls the ball by constantly pounding the inside of the strike zone.
And then the fastball that kind of tailed off, but it's a strikeout, and that's the third strikeout for Anibal Sanchez.
And that was a mistake pitch. The catcher's setting up inside, and that ball just runs away. One of the finer qualities of any pitcher is the ability to make the ball move both ways. Therefore, the hitter can't look in one area. Even though the direction of the pitch starts out one way, it ends up in another.
So 2 outs. Here's Donaldson, who struck out swinging in the first. Sanchez 46 pitches through 3 2/3 innings. And now 2-0. So Donaldson sitting in a hitter's count. Donaldson 3 for 9 in the series with a home run, a couple of RBIs. This one's popped up and it will reach the seats.
What a great game, Glenn. Yesterday's pitching matchup. This is basically what you thought it would be like after 4 innings. 2 power guys with dominant stuff, overpowering, dominating hitters. Tonight you have 2 guys with finesse, pounding the strike zone, minimizing damage. What a chess match we have out. 2 solid pitchers out there tonight.
There's a shot to center, and that's the first hit of the game for the Athletics. So Donaldson, line drive single.
As a baseball fan, you have to love watching Josh Donaldson hit. I get so excited watching hitters that create great rhythm at the plate. When you have a leg kick, your swing has to be on point all day long. If there are any mechanical flaws going on, you're going to be a little too early, you're going to be a little too late, you're going to be off balance. Josh Donaldson does a tremendous job of creating leverage and getting on top of fastballs, even the ones that are up in the strike zone.
Sprays it around, and I think what's great about Donaldson, that one's lined into the glove of Cabrera, side retired. So Moss hit it hard. Nice play by the big first baseman. Side retired, a runner left for the A's, and we are headed to the 5th. 1-0 Tigers.
The 1974 A's team that won 3 straight World Series championships will be celebrated Friday, May 30th and May 31st. Raleigh Fingers, Reggie Jackson, Sal Bando, Vita Blue, Gene Tennis, and our own Ray Fawcett will be honored. There will be autograph sessions on Friday and a meet and greet on Saturday with all proceeds benefiting the Jim Catfish Hunter AOS Foundation. For more information and tickets, visit athletics.com/1974.
Top of the 5th inning, 1-0 the Tigers lead. It's Avila, Castellanos, and Worth against Casimir. Now, you named off some of the guys, but there's going to be more than just those guys. Pretty much all the guys from those great teams will be there. Kenny Holtzman, names like that. It's going to be fun.
I think as a bonus, they should give away Kelly Green baseball bats on that day. We're going to reminisce. Let's do it.
I was going to say, that sounds like you were at a few bat days here around that time.
Yes, sir.
So what I mean, listen, you grew up here, grew up an A's fan. What are your memories from 72, 73, 74? I mean, you were old enough to come out to the ballpark. I mean, you remember those years.
The different uniforms. I mean, these guys could roll out all green, all gold, the white shoes and the green stirrups. The elephant behind home plate, lifting up, bringing baseballs out.
That's great.
Oh, man, Joe Rudy. You're talking about
nice
Kelly Green
guys.
baseball bats, man. It was either Joe Rudy, Bert Campaneris, or Sal Bando. You had to have one of those because you knew you could go out and club somebody with one of those.
Hit hard, but right at Moss, who will take it himself.
When I talk about club somebody, Glenn, I'm talking about down at the park playing strikeout. We couldn't wait to get down there and show off our bats and just go to work all day long until the sun went down. Those were the days. The green and gold.
Well, it's fun. It's fun listening to my partner Ray Fosse talk with the guys when they come up, and we will be having some of the players in our booth this weekend. And I noticed it's 40 years ago, but the guys haven't changed that much, you know. Physically, maybe a little bit. They still all have their opinions on Charlie Finley.
Well, Bill
There's
North,
a real bond with that group, and you can tell just when you watch them converse with each other.
all the stories that they have to tell. I mean, incredible, man. Vita Blue looks great.
Yeah. And the best stories are probably the ones they can't tell, I would think.
Well, this was a team, when you're talking about team chemistry, they fought on the field, in the clubhouse, after the game, before the game, but when they got between the lines, you're talking about 9 guys who played together and got it done.
Unfortunately, free agency took over. Kind of broke up that group, but they sure had a terrific run. Sky to right center, hit pretty well, but in the ballpark for Reddick. He's got it. Castellanos is retired. 2 away here in the top of the 5th inning. Just one mistake by Kazmir. The 2-out solo home run by Torrey Hunter last inning.
Just to touch on that one more time, please. You know, I'm happy for the players in free agency and what it's been able to do as far as monumental things are concerned. But boy, back then you got a chance to grow with the teams. Players stayed with teams for a significant amount of time, and you had a chance to grow with the ball club.
Oh, it sounded like Charlie Finley was never in favor of free agency. He saw it coming and started trading guys. Was that a disappointing thing for a youngster growing up an A's fan? It must have been, right?
Absolutely.
Coco grabs it inside, retired. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Scott Kazmir. And we're headed to the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Tigers. Tigers 1, A's nothing. Starting to cool off a little bit, as it usually does here in the Bay Area. Fog starts sneaking in. But a comfortable night at the Coliseum. Anibal Sanchez has allowed just one hit to the A's. He's walked one, he has struck out 3, and he's thrown 50 pitches through 4 innings. So he's been tough so far.
Yeah, but second time around, we've heard a lot more noise coming off the bat of the A's. Fortunately for the Tigers, they've been in the right place at the right time. But it'll be interesting to see how the A's adjust to Sanchez as we go on.
Hit hard but foul past Mike Gallego. So 1-1 to Cespedes, who robbed of a hit by Rajai Davis in center field in the second inning. This one into the still photographer well, and then up into the seats.
You know, Glenn, I talk about the second time around. Chili Davis loves to use the analogy: first time around observation, second time execution.
Makes perfect sense. 1-2 pitch, high fastball. Cespedes chased it, and that's out number 1. All right, here's our Cache Creek playing the numbers since the 2013 All-Star break. Brandon Moss, 26 home runs, 85 RBIs. The 85 RBIs, second most in the American League. Donaldson has the most runs scored in that time frame. And Lowry has the most doubles. Again, that's from last year's All-Star break on. Lowry, shallow center. Rajai Davis is there. He's got it. So 2 outs. Rajai Davis, lots of action. He's got, let's see, I got him for 6 putouts.
Now batting, the catcher, number 36, Derek Norris.
So with 2 outs, Norris will hit. Norris hit a fly ball to Davis in the 3rd inning. The Rangers still leading the Twins 1-0, and that game is now in the 9th inning in Minnesota. First pitch to Norris is right on the outside corner. Shooty, this may be as good of control that I've seen Anibal Sanchez have in any start he's ever had against the Athletics.
Well, when you lead the league in ERA, you're making the teams that you're facing earn everything that they get. And when you are a strike thrower, you are basically in control of what happens in the game. When you pound the zone early on, you can start expanding. As we saw Cespedes chase a fastball up in the zone, Sanchez is capable of going up there getting 94, 95, even though he's been living at 89 and 91 all game long.
That one bends Norris out of the way, so 2-2. Well, the old school thought is up and away, next pitch, or up and in, next pitch, down and away. We'll see if that's the case with Sanchez to Norris. Well, it was right there, and it's strike 3 called. So a 3-up, 3-down inning with a couple of strikeouts for Anibal Sanchez, and it's 1-0 Tigers after 5. Go to the CSNCA fan photo, put your name and your hometown down for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's all brought to you by AT&T. That is Sean Lovins from Alameda, and he was at Fenway Park earlier this year when the A's and the Red Sox were playing. Actually, Sean's from Livermore. Apologize. So Sean Lovins, thanks for sending in the photo, and I have a feeling that that group had a really good time in Boston. How could you not? So Kazmir back to work, and he will face the top of the order for the Tigers. Davis, Kinsler, and Cabrera. No walks, 3 strikeouts for Kazmir. And it's a quick 0-2 to Rajai Davis. Davis has a single and a double. So 3 for 6 now in the series. Davis signed a 2-year contract with the Tigers. One-two pitch, changeup, and a good one, and Davis strikes out. Wow.
Scott Kazmir has shown such a great ability to command the baseball. Here's a young man who's, once again, a power guy who could throw the ball by hitters, had 4-pitch rep. He's shown you that he can dominate basically with 2 pitches. He'll throw the slider basically for a show, not so much for effect. And then the changeup is the wipeout pitch.
One out for Kinsler. Kinsler toward Donaldson. It gets past Donaldson. Lowry picks it up and throws in time, and that's out number 2. Well, Donaldson, you're so used to him getting to it even when he dives, but it just got past him, but Lowry was there.
Well, these guys have worked so much together now that they understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. Lowry never gave up on the play, even though that he knows that Josh is capable of making that play. Tipped off his glove, a lot of time that ball is misdirected, and the shortstop will find himself going in the wrong direction and can't make the adjustment. Fortunately for the A's, Donaldson wasn't able to deflect that ball.
Here's Cabrera, who has hit a fly ball to right field and a fly ball to center field. First pitch, outside corner for a strike.
Up in the zone for a strike, down in the zone for a strike. Constantly changing the eye level of the hitter.
Cabrera is 3 for 10 in this series. Has 373 career home runs, Miguel Cabrera. Inside, and Cabrera gets himself out of the way. 2-1. Swing there, fouls it right side. Most home runs since 2010, Cabrera and Batista. See Edwin Encarnacion, who of course is having the terrific month of May for the Blue Jays on that list. And that one just foul tipped.
As you watch Miguel Cabrera here pull his hands in so quickly, a big guy with such an easy swing. Wow. Sonny Gray was like, man, and I don't know what this samba sachet is going down at third base, but.
And that one's hit to left. Cespedes is under it. He's got it, and Kazmir has a 3-up, 3-down inning. He's retired 7 in a row. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Reddick to lead it off. 1-0 Tigers.
First rewind, we knew we had a great pitching matchup of two guys that can really manipulate the fastball as well as get chases on breaking balls. When you've got a guy swinging at high fastball, what do? Elevate a little higher. When you make a mistake, you stay out of that same place. The only difference in this game, Scott Kazmir made one mistake up in the zone and allowed Torrey Hunter to extend his arms, and he did what he's been doing to the A's pitchers for a long time.
Reddick to lead it off, and there's a strike on the outside corner. Reddick walked in the third inning. He was the first base runner for the A's. Like Careless Whisper, don't you?
Sure I do.
I knew it. Shooty's a Wham fan. I knew it. Fastball is high.
Well, Glenn, there's your up and away fastball. You predicted down and in. Is the recipe for success in this situation. Let's see how Sanchez goes at Reddick.
Two and two now.
As I alluded to his repertoire, normally a pitcher would go with his strongest pitch there, a situation where a hitter normally chases. But by Sanchez having so many different ways to get hitters out, that's how you keep hitters off balance there.
Sanchez kicks, setting up inside, and a fastball, swing and a miss, 93 miles an hour. And that is now 6 strikeouts for Sanchez.
So high, so hard for a hitter to lay off that fastball that's up in the zone because something tells you that you can catch up with it. But one thing about Sanchez, he normally doesn't go to his 93 or 94 until he's trying to put a hitter away in the chase area. He's been very successful so far with that up in the strike zone, not allowing the A's to catch up with that fastball.
Likes the slider, likes the change. So he's got probably four legitimate I can get you out pitches, and that's what makes him pretty good. Sogard slaps one down the left field line, fair. Martinez cannot pick it up clean, and Sogard the second with a double.
Go figure. You've got a pitcher carving up all these great Oakland A's hitters that are having great years. Eric Sogard struggling a little bit with a 188 average, doing what he does best, spraying the ball around the field, not trying to do too much, manipulating the bat head. We saw Alberto Callaspo do the same thing to Max Scherzer yesterday. This is the way that you have to be effective of these type of pitchers. You can't try to do too much, just take what they give you.
So the tying run at second base for Coco Crisp. Coco, a couple of fly balls, one to center and one to right. First pitch is a fastball for a strike. Coco 7 hits in his last 40 at bats. Jaso will be next. Coco rolls it foul, headed toward the Tigers dugout, so Sanchez gets ahead 0-2.
Prior to the Sogard hit, I was going to say it's time for a perspiration check out there on Sanchez. I didn't think the guy had broken a sweat yet, but when you put him in a situation like this, the beads start coming up on the forehead a little bit.
Very good ratio, as this will be pitch number 70 coming up. So he's got a pretty good grip on the pitch count at this point. Fastball is high. Probably high fastball intended to be a high fastball.
Well, if you're looking for predictability, last hitter that was in the same situation, 0-2 count fastball up in the zone, we're looking for that slider in the dirt. He threw a changeup that bounced up there. But by Sanchez having so many different ways, you can't go up there guessing. You just got to look for the baseball, try to put it in play and do some damage. Coco Chris is one of those guys who does such a great job of extending at bats and is capable of fouling off pitches until he gets something that he can handle. Unfortunately, Sanchez is a guy that's been keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate for the most part.
Long look at second, and the 1-2 pitch is hit in the air to shallow left. Martinez is under it. So another fly ball out for Coco Crisp, and that's the second out of the inning. And here's Jaso.
Designated hitter, number 5.
Remember Anibal Sanchez, you talked about how he came up with the Boston Red Sox, but then he was part of a big trade that sent him to the Marlins. Got to the big leagues and pitched pretty well for the Marlins. And then in 2012, late July, that's when the Tigers needed one more starter, and that's who they got. Line drive foul. Nice play down there by the Jacket. Part of Sanchez's time with the Marlins was a no-hitter. This was his rookie season. So he's got a no-hitter on his resume. It was September 6th of 2006 against the Diamondbacks. A little bit younger there. He's lost some weight since then, too.
Yes, he has. And if you looked at his delivery there, he didn't have that body twist going on.
That's right. Pick off, and getting back is Sogard.
What a body transformation there. I mean, that's about 40, 45 pounds.
103 pitches, that's not bad. So he had good seasons with the Marlins, and he gets to the Tigers, pitches well down the stretch, but then he's a free agent. And a lot of teams wanted him, and he decided the best bet is to stay with the Tigers, and he did. He got a nice big contract, 5-year deal to remain in Detroit, so he's happy there, I would imagine.
Glenn, this has to be a huge benefit for Sanchez to be pitching on a staff like the Detroit Tigers, because everybody's always talking about the big three. They're not ever talking about Sanchez. As good as his stuff is, all it does is allow him to fly under the radar a little bit and just come out here and sneak up on you. Look up, 100 pitches, complete game, not giving up anything.
Jaso hits it hard right at Kinsler. Gobbles it up, flips to first, side retired. So the A's strand Sogard at second base, and Anibal Sanchez holding on to a 1-0 lead as we head to the 7th. Check this out. That's June 12th of 2007. That's Brad Ausmus. A walk-off against the Athletics in the 11th inning. Astros would win the game 5-4. Brad Ausmus is now the manager of the Detroit Tigers.
44 years old, still hanging tin down on the beach. He's a surfer dude. Still looks like he can still play.
So another former catcher becoming a manager. And there's a lot of them, and there has to be something to that.
Number 41, Victor Martinez.
Bob Melvin, a former catcher, of course. Base hit left field for Victor Martinez. Has he swung at the first pitch in all 3 at-bats tonight? I think he has.
Well, Victor Martinez doesn't waste any time. Here's a guy who's so tough to strike out. Sees what he likes, has great rhythm and timing at the plate from both sides of the plate. We talk about this guy being a perennial 300 hitter from both sides of the dish. Slight leg kick, keeps his hands back, transfers his weight very well. Very, very tough out.
So a leadoff hit. That's hit number 5 off Kazmir. And here's Torrey Hunter. Torrey Hunter has 2 of them, including a home run. Kazmir just 74 pitches, so he, like Sanchez, has pretty good control of his pitch count tonight. Short lead for Martinez at first. And that's hit hard to Donaldson, who has it. Out at second, Sogard on the pivot, and that's another double play turned by the A's.
Well, I'd like to say that that's the way that it was drawn up, but that ball was scalded down there on a one-hop laser. Josh Donaldson has been doing a tremendous job down at third base, just being able to slow the game down. You're talking about the hot corner down there. Josh Donaldson turning the hot corner cold.
He's terrific. Josh Donaldson.
Can we start thinking in terms of Gold Glove, Josh Donaldson?
Well, I mean, he's a Gold Glove caliber player. I don't think there's any question about that. He has not won the award, but yeah, I think he will. Longoria is very good, but I don't know that. I would say Longoria is better defensively than Donaldson.
Well, the best in the game and a Hall of Famer for me is Adrian Beltre. But he's been hurt and banged up a lot for Texas this year.
Beltre is terrific. But again, I think Donaldson's probably as good. 0-2 changeup waved at by Martinez. So the double play helps Kazmir, and we have reached the 7th inning stretch. Tigers 1, Athletics nothing. It's the bottom of the 7th inning, so maybe time for the A's to get something going. Rajai Davis looks like Rajai slide over to left. Jackson is now in center field. We have not taken J.D. Martinez. Thought maybe Rajai Davis stayed in the game, but Jackson is in, Davis is out. And Anibal Sanchez, 6 shutout innings so far. First pitch to Donaldson is a strike on the outside corner. Donaldson with a strikeout in the first and a single in the fourth. Popped him up. That fastball, and see 91 miles an hour shooting, but it just got in on Donaldson a little bit, so very good location. That's what really Sanchez has had all night.
One Achilles heel for the Detroit Tigers over the past couple of years is their inability to get the ball to their closer. Anibal Sanchez has 76 pitches here in the 7th inning. If the A's are going to do something, they're going to have to do something in a hurry, because you don't want to leave the game in the hands of Joe Mayfield.
First pitch to Moss is rolled foul. The Rangers won tonight 1-0. Ever the Twins, they scored their only run in the 7th inning. So Texas gets up over the 500 mark. They're now 27-26. Fastball for a strike. So looks like now any pitch borderline is going Sanchez's way, and maybe he's earned that so far tonight. Now 1-2 to Moss, who has struck out and lined out. Cabrera made a nice play on his line drive to end the 4th inning.
Talking about touch and feel, Joe Saunders soft tossing left, the one who started for the Texas Rangers tonight.
He got a no decision, but pitched well in 5 innings. So 2-2 now to Moss, with Cespedes waiting in the on-deck circle. So it's the power guys in this inning. Long looked in by Sanchez. Still looking. Now he's ready. Missed again. 3-2.
Sanchez has pretty much had his way with Brandon Moss tonight. I think this is a big inning right here for the A's. You've got guys that are coming up that can change this game or get you right back in it with one swing of the bat.
Three-two pitch, breaking ball hit in the air to left. Martinez under it. He's got it. 2 outs. Authentic fans know where to find the best deal in Bay Area baseball. Comcast Sportsnet California's Authentic Fan Fridays at the Coliseum. Friday, you're going to get a ticket in our value deck behind home plate, an authentic A's fan grab bag, a cheer card, and a $6 food and drink voucher, all for one great price. The best deal in Bay Area baseball is Comcast Sportsnet's Authentic Fan Friday. Log on to csncalifornia.com for all your details. So that'll be Friday. It's the A's and the Angels. What more do you need? Celebrate 40-year anniversary of the 1974 A's World Series championship team. They'll all be here. It's going to be a good weekend.
You want to break down Anibal Sanchez's night. Basically, you could look at Brandon Moss. His last at bat, he struck him out with a fastball up in the zone. This time, with 2 strikes, he threw him a 3-2 breaking ball. That tells you how good his stuff is.
Runs that one in on Cespedes. He's walked 1, he struck out 6. pitch is hit high and foul.
One thing that I'm noticing with the Oakland A's hitters tonight, as a hitter, one thing that you want to do is hit the top half of the baseball, which gives you an opportunity to square it up. There's been some weak pop-ups. Seems like the A's have been getting under a lot of Anibal Sanchez pitches tonight.
2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. 7 strikeouts for Anibal Sanchez, and we're moving to the 8th inning. 1-0 Tigers. A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Kelly Moore, proud sponsor of the Oakland A's. KellyMoore.com. Bring inspiration home. There's pitchers duel tonight here at the Coliseum, and right now it's the Tigers 1 and the A's nothing, and it's the top of the 8th inning. Kazmir will face Avila, Castellanos, Worth. Kazmir with 78 pitches. First pitch, high fastball, swing and a miss. Avila has grounded out to short. He has grounded out to first. So he's 1 for 6 in this series against the A's. The hottest team in baseball won again tonight in walk-off fashion. Toronto 3, Tampa Bay 2. A throwing error by the Rays 1. Carlos Oviedo allowed the winning run to score. So everything's going right for the Blue Jays right now. So Shooty, they won their 9th consecutive game. Of course, we saw it over the weekend with the Jays sweeping the A's. So they are now 10 games over the 500 mark. Dangerous team, maybe.
No, you just don't want to leave it all out there in Maine.
One-two pitch, fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out with 93.
Head on a Stick on Friday, May 30th. 5,000 fans will receive a vote. Josh Donaldson Head on a Stick. It's presented by Kelly Moore Paints. All-star voting is underway, so come out to the game on Friday night and remember to vote for Josh Donaldson, Brandon Moss, Yoenis Cespedes, and the rest of your favorite A stars.
Here's Nick Castellanos. Change up, swing and a miss.
Glenn, I think one thing that can't go unnoticed in this outing by Scott Kazmir, Brad Alsmus did everything that he could to stockpile that lineup with right-handed hitters. Kazmir has carved these guys up pretty good.
Yeah, right-handed, left-handed, it hasn't really mattered much. Avila, the only left-handed hitter. There's your 6 strikeouts. 5 swinging, 1 looking.
I was a right-handed hitter, and man, I used to get excited when I knew a left-handed pitcher would be on the mound because I didn't have to worry about that diet of sliders breaking away from you. You always felt that you had the distinct advantage. Tonight, Scott Kazmir has been able to offset that advantage with a true great changeup tonight.
And there it was, and it just stayed outside.
Staying out of the middle of the zone is so key. You're always looking for chases or swings and misses.
And he got one there. So Norris tags Castellanos, and that's another strikeout. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Kazmir. He now has 7 in the game.
I talked about repeating the delivery and what it does to create deception. Scott Kazmir does such a great job of selling his changeup with accelerated arm speed. You remember the days when we were kids and Bugs Bunny would be on a cartoon and he would just wind his arm up as fast as he could and it looked like he was going to throw it 500 miles an hour, and the ball basically almost stopped before it got to the plate.
How do you know I didn't watch Bugs a couple nights ago, Shooty?
Oh, I know Jack's got it tuned in all the Looney Tune commercials.
Toward right center, Coco was playing that way. He's got it. Another good inning for Scott Kazmir. He has been very good tonight. And we are going to the bottom of the 8th. Still the Tigers 1 and the A's nothing. Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 1-5-0 for the Tigers, 0-2-0 for the A's. Great pitching matchup. The only run of the game, a solo home run by Torrey Hunter, and that was in the 4th inning. So Anibal Sanchez back to work. He'll face Lowry, Norris, and Reddick. 7 strikeouts so far for Sanchez. This is pitch number 89, and it's rolled foul. So 1-1 to Lowry, who has hit a couple of fly balls to center field. One-two pitch. Make that the 1-1 pitch is inside. 2-1.
We talked about in our opening about the keys for the A's to have some success tonight. Get Anibal Sanchez in the stretch. Do something to disrupt his rhythm. Maybe he'll make a mistake up in the strike zone. The A's, unfortunately, haven't been able to do much of that tonight.
Ball's hit hard. Cabrera got it. Spins around, flips to Sanchez. That's out number 1. So Rajai Davis left the game, a bit of a banged up shoulder, and he fell pretty hard on that left shoulder, and we don't know if that is indeed the play, but it certainly could be.
Well, there wasn't nothing abnormal about that catch. A lot of times when you see guys making diving plays out there, they don't understand how to fall. Rajai was able to produce a roll at the same time of landing on the ground, and a lot of times that eliminates that impact on the ground where guys normally get hurt. So athletically as he is, I would be surprised if he did get hurt on that play.
So that is why Austin Jackson came in the game last inning. The Mariners still leading the Angels. It's now 2-0 in the 7th inning. And remember, Felix Hernandez is pitching that game for Seattle. He's given up just 2 hits through 7 innings with 7 strikeouts. Felix just may say, Chef Rodney, stay in the bullpen. I got this one. Pitch right there in the corner, and it's 0-2 to Norris, who has hit a fly ball to center field, and he has struck out looking.
Felix Hernandez is so old school, man. I mean, just goes out there, takes the ball, gives you 7 or 8 innings every time out. He could have pitched when those guys had 4-man rotations.
And he has not always gotten a lot of run support. But he loves it there. Swing and a miss on a pitch in the dirt. And Norris strikes out. And that is strikeout number 8 for Sanchez.
Once again, we see Sanchez getting a strikeout with a different pitch. Up in the zone to get Brandon Moss. Change-ups away, slider in the dirt. It's just pretty difficult for a hitter when you go up there battling a guy that you just don't know how he's going to attack you. You can't eliminate anything. You can't take one side of the plate. You've got to hope that he makes a mistake somewhere in the middle of the plate, and you've got to be ready to make him pay.
Here's Reddick, and Reddick checks his swing on a breaking ball, and it's a strike. First pitch. Jumps ahead with an off speed. Reddick a walk and a strikeout. Seven in a row retired by Anibal Sanchez. Reddick can get on. Sogard would hit. Pitch number 98 coming up. Here it is. It's foul back.
Talking to some of the Detroit Tigers people, Anibal Sanchez career start really taking off under the tutelage of Pedro Martinez. And if you watch him, there are some similarities. Pedro was a guy that gave you a little bit of everything, but he also could elevate and pitch up to 95 and 96 when he needed it.
Good take there by Reddick. So 3-2. So 3-2. You got a 1-run lead in the 8th inning. Power hitter. Be interesting to see what he throws Reddick. And he got him, and that was a nasty pitch. 2 more strikeouts for Anibal Sanchez, and he now has 9, and we are through 8. 1-0 Detroit. 1-0. Tigers leading. It's the top of the 9th inning. Scott Kazmir will face Austin Jackson, Ian Kinsler, and Miguel Cabrera. So Scott Kazmir finished 9 innings just once in his career, 2006. Pretty good chance to do it tonight. It was just pitch number 91. The bullpen is quiet. So both bullpens are quiet. Off speed, first strike, 1-2.
That's the last thing that I had thought about. A bullpen on either side. I'd forgot that they even had bullpen.
Like the old days. Swing and a miss. And Jackson strikes out. 8 strikeouts for Kazmir. So he is matching Sanchez right now.
And the two things, or the one thing that both pitchers have in common, keeping these hitters off balance, getting them out there on their front foot. Unless you have some great hitting hands or you're Frank Thomas, you're going to be in for a long night.
Joe Nathan loosening up, but not up throwing just yet. Kinsler takes up and away. Kinsler is 0 for 3. He's hit into a double play. He has struck out and he has grounded out. 5 hits for the Tigers, 2 hits for the Athletics, and that one is cued, and it's going to stay fair. Moss picks it up, steps in the bag. Kinsler is 0 for 4. So 2 outs, and here's Cabrera. In the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be Sogard, Crisp, and Jaso. If anybody would get on, Donaldson and then Moss. So we shall see who takes the mound for the Tigers. Nathan just now getting to the mound, and he'll start to throw. Cabrera skies one down the left field line, hit a mile, but foul.
One of the more intriguing things in the game, you look at Joe Nathan warming up down in the bullpen. You've got a guy like Anibal Sanchez on the mound that's just totally dominating. At one point, do you think of even taking a guy out like that?
Well, yeah, do you take him out when one guy gets on? Do you take him out when 2 guys get on?
Well, you have to know your personnel, because to see a guy warming up in the bullpen down there, does that shake a guy's confidence a little bit?
That would hit hard, foul.
As much as pitchers peep up at the radar gun or the pitch count when things are going a certain way, there are times when they're in the game and they look down at that bullpen to see if anybody's warming up down there.
0-2 pitch. Fastball just missed outside. Cabrera, 3 fly ball outs. And reaches for that changeup and is able to stay alive. So Kazmir right at 100 pitches. His season high is 106. He's back on the 19th of April right here against the Astros. One-two pitch, rolled foul.
One thing that you have to be excited about if you're the Oakland A's, with the exception of the home run that Miguel Cabrera hit, the A's have had Cabrera in a situation where he's come to the plate with nobody on base, not in a position to do a whole lot of damage. When he does, they kept him in the ballpark and they've minimized what he's been able to do.
Fouls another one back. Now the bullpen gets rolling with Doolittle. to left. Cespedes on the move, and Cespedes is going to play it off the wall. And Cabrera's trying for two. The throw is there, and he is safe. Must have got his hand in there somehow. Bob Melvin will come out.
I don't think so, Glenn. I know I was wrong the last time, but one thing that Eric Sogard did such a great job with that you don't see a lot of second basemen do in this situation, because you have so many hitters or runners that head first slide or slide beyond the base, is stay with the tag. And that's baseball 101. You get a guy there, you put a tag on him, keep the tag on him. By Sogard doing that, when Miguel Cabrera reached back in, Sogard had the glove in position where Miguel Cabrera wasn't able to reach around him. He's out right there.
And if they do indeed review it, I think they will see that he's out.
He was out twice on that play, on the first tag and on the second time.
They got him there on the right knee.
Got him on the hand, got him 3 times.
So they are going to take a look at it, and at least from what we see, replays, pretty good look, and it looked like he was out. So there'll be a nice meeting. Miguel Cabrera and a whole bunch of athletics out near second base, which is kind of a funny shot.
That might be the first time that I ever watched a player get tagged out 3 times on one play. And there's going to be controversy. There's 1. Watch the hand. There's 2. Bam, Ski.
So it was like actually Angel Campos, who
terrible position,
umpire.
Terrible position there. On the left hand, 2. In the chest 3 times.
Sogard says, I got him.
Unfortunately for the umpire, he didn't have a good angle there. He was blocked out by the play. Major League Baseball is doing such a tremendous job with this replay system, and I know there are going to be some tweaks involved when the year is over with. But this is one of the tough times of the game here. You got 2 starting pitchers that are throwing. Good call.
Yep, and they called him out, and it looks like they got it right. So if Cabrera trots back, he'll get credited for a single. And we are headed, folks, to the bottom of the 9th inning. Sanchez going on. A's trailing 1-0.
To you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports, and by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, Scott Kazmir in that weird spot where you throw 9 innings, but you're losing 1-0. So the A's will try to do something heroic here in the 9th inning as it's going to be Callaspo hitting for Sogard, and Callaspo fouls the first pitch back from Anibal Sanchez.
One trademark of this Oakland A's ball club is that they make every team work harder than anybody in baseball as far as getting 27 outs. They grind you all the way to the end.
8 career complete games, 6 career shutouts for Anibal Sanchez. One of those last year. Does not have anything this year. The most pitches he has thrown this year is 110. Oh, 0-2 to Callaspo. Crisp to follow, and then Jaso here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Nathan is throwing and ready in the Tigers bullpen. Pitch, foul back. Callaspo hanging in there.
Well, I think it's really important if Callaspo can get on base. You know, the A's do have Gentry over there. Someone could provide some speed on the bases and help the A's manufacture a run.
Sanchez with kickoff of Avila. 9 strikeouts for Sanchez. He has walked 1. Fouled again, so Callaspo doing a good job. One-two pitch, here it comes. Changeup that's inside. Outfield pretty much straight away and shallow, at least shallow in left and shallow in center. Cabrera guarding the line at first. 2-2 pitch is tapped foul as Callaspo will reach for that one just to stay alive.
Well, Callaspo may be the perfect guy to get Sanchez out of the game because his ability to extend at bats. You talked about the 110 pitch mark being his highest. He's at 107 right now. If Callaspo can continue to do what he's doing, that may be the reason to get him out of there.
Two-two pitch again fouled at the plate. So Callaspo taking a whole bunch of swing out, and he's just fouling pitches off.
That's what the good ones do. We've talked so much about Callaspo's professionalism at the plate and the ability to use his hands. Always talked about you fight with your hands. Right now, he is in fighting mode for sure.
That one's hit hard, but right at Kinsler, who scoops it up, and that's out number 1. So Callaspo put on a good battle, but he ends up grounding out for the first out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. So now to the top of the order in Coco Crisp. The A's 2 hits in this game. A 2-out single by Donaldson in the 4th and a 1-out double by Sogard in the 6th. Since that Sogard double, Sanchez has retired 9 in a row. So here's Crisp. Setting up outside, and it's a swing and a miss. So Sanchez has got a pitch 87, 88, 89 miles an hour that's got some serious downward movement, and it's given the A's hitters fits. And that one hit down the left field line, fair. Coco hits the bag at first, digging for second, and Coco with a 1-out double in the bottom of the 9th.
I've said it once and I've said it twice. We're talking about here maybe the second best leadoff hitter in the history of the Oakland A's franchise. Coco Crisp, prime time, big time player. has had a tough time tonight getting on top of the baseball with a couple of weak pop-ups, stays inside of it, utilizes his ability to shoot the ball down the left field line. This is what Coco Chris does, create havoc.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. The closer, Joe Nathan, coming in.
How can it not be Scott Kazmir? So under control, so dominating, giving you an ace-like performance tonight. Wade made one mistake. Torrey Hunter, home run ball. Scott Kazmir on point tonight.
So here comes Jaso to face Nathan. The tying run is at second base with one out. So Nathan, save opportunity. He got the save last night. Pitched one inning through 13 pitches. The A's did not get a hit off him, and he had a strikeout. So Jaso 0 for 3. A flyout, a strikeout, and a groundout so far tonight. On deck is Donaldson. First pitch to Jaso is a slider for a strike.
How about baseball? You feel good, you get a feather in your hat for knocking Anibal Sanchez out of the game, and your reward?
Big Joe Nathan.
Big Joe Nathan.
At this point, though, anybody may be better than Sanchez as far as the A's wanting to face, because Sanchez was good. 9 strikeouts in 8 and a third inning. Good swing by Jaso. He liked that one, and he fouled it straight back. So the count 0-2.
Joe Nathan has always possessed a very tough challenge for hitters because of his height and his ability to create such tremendous playing. It's almost as if he's throwing downhill to the hitters, and it's like they're looking up to him, and that makes it very difficult for them to pick the baseball up.
So Nathan ahead in the count, 0-2. Jaso will try to fight back. Open stance for Jaso. Oh-2 pitch is way high. Danny Wirth is right behind Coco Crisp. Wirth, the shortstop. He's doing everything he can to just try to keep Coco from getting too good of a jump. Career numbers for Nathan against the Athletics. Look at that ERA, 1.03.
One thing as a base runner you don't want to do is move around a lot out there and distract the hitter, but with Coco Chris, his presence on second base almost allowed Joe Nathan to throw the ball up against the screen right there.
1-2 pitch. He almost did it again. Not close. 2-2. We said it last night, Shooty. Nathan always goes back to that hard slider.
And that's a difficult challenge for him right now, Glenn, with Coco Chris at second base. If he bounces the ball in the dirt at all, he advances to third base easily.
Nathan gonna walk Coco back to the bag. Little cat and mouse game going on. Nathan wants to make sure everybody's keeping a close eye on. He doesn't want to be the only one keeping a close eye on Coco.
He even asked Avila, hey, keep a look at that eye on this guy for me, man.
He's fast.
That's what speed does, man. It just disrupts everything, makes everybody else play differently.
Nathan, a look. 2-2 pitch. Line drive off the glove of the third baseman Castellano, and Coco will go to third. He'll stop there. So Castellano got a glove on it. Probably should have caught it. And it went into left field.
Talking about a game of inches here. So difficult for a third baseman to react off the ball from a left-handed hitter because you're not used to that ball curving that way. What looked like it was going to be really out of his reach kind of came back to him a little bit. That's just misjudgment of the play there. Coco with heads-up base running here. You always told freeze on the line drive, halfway on the fly ball. Coco Chris, heads-up base running. Anibal Sanchez. Gallant effort tonight, all for naught. All he'll have to go on is, I gave my team a chance to win, but I've got that old great ND next to my name. No decision.
So runners at the corners, one out. It's going to be Nathan against Donaldson. So Gentry comes in to pinch run, and he's pinch running for Jaso. So Gentry the winning run. So terrific speed now at first base for the A's. Outfield playing Donaldson straight up. Middle infield, right at double play depth. Donaldson is 1 for 3. Pitch hit to left, down the line, and that baby is gone. We are walking off. Donaldson's done it. What an ending at the Coliseum. two great teams, and one swing of the bat from Josh Donaldson. We were hoping he would get a chance to hit in this ninth inning. He did, and he sends everybody home happy. A deep drive, stayed fair, and the A's win it by a final score of 3-1.
Josh Donaldson is a man. To be able to sit on first pitch breaking ball from one of the best closers in the game, it only tells you how locked in Josh Donaldson is as a hitter right now. Can you say all-star Josh Donaldson?
It looked like that Nathan slider that we talked about, Shooty, and hung in the middle of the plate. You have to wonder, and we'll certainly ask Josh that, if he was looking for it. It hung in there on the inside part of the plate. Pretty good pitch to hit, but maybe he was indeed looking for that Nathan slider. We'll find out. And boy, what a ninth inning. So Anibal Sanchez, is that unbelievable? He pitches great, gives up that double, and he's going to get a no decision, and Josh Donaldson is going to get the hero's welcome, and he's going to get an interview as well. Josh, thanks for joining us. Congratulations. We were just talking about the first pitch. It looked like a slider. That's probably Nathan's best pitch. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, definitely. He's going to go to his strikeout pitches right there, first and third. One out. He's got to try to strike me out. So, I'm looking for a strikeout pitch, and he just left over the plate a little bit.
Josh, we were standing behind the batting cage today, and one thing that I told you that I was really impressed about your game.
What does it taste like? I don't think they're quite done yet either. Hang in there, Josh.
All right.
I don't think they're quite done with you yet, but that's all right.
Should I just stay?
Yeah,
I got new cleats on.
Just wait it out.
All right.
Josh, we were standing behind the batting cage today when we were taking batting practice, and one thing that we talked about, I told you, I was so impressed about how your career has changed as a hitter. I see the maturity, the maturation level that you have done, your ability to slow the game down. Talk about that a little bit, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, a big situation right there. Everybody's, the crowd's yelling, everybody's yelling. Your team's pulling for you right there. You want to come through. It's, and the hardest thing for me to do is just try to control that energy because I get excited sometimes. And, I was just able to just stay relaxed and, able to get the job done today.
Now, what was Anibal Sanchez doing that was making it so tough on you guys? It looked to us like he had pretty good control of all of his pitches.
I mean, you got to tip your hat to that guy. I mean, he pitched one whale of a game today, and, I'm sure it stings for him a little bit, but at the same time, Scotty on our side just did a great job as well. We're glad that we got the victory today.
I talk so much about the trademark of this ball club. You guys possess a threat that it seems like you are the hardest team to get 27 outs against of any team in baseball. Is that something that is part of the character of this ball club? Do you talk about that a little bit, knowing that you're never out of the game until the game is over?
Well, I mean, I just look at Kyle's at bat, for example. Leading off the inning, I mean, he had like a 12-pitch at bat there. He's grinding. Hadn't been in the game the entire time. Comes up there, grinds out 12 pitches right there. I think that just shows the kind of quality of at-bats that we have throughout the night. And, especially when you're going against a guy like Anibal Sanchez, he just does a great job of changing speeds and throwing a lot of strikes. And, thankfully we were able to wait him out.
Well, it was fun. Josh, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the walk-off.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Josh Donaldson, the 3-run homer. Interesting point. He talked about the Callaspo at bat, which ended up being a ground out. So you think, well, it's just the first out, but, if he doesn't stretch it out to a 12-pitch at bat, maybe Anibal Sanchez stays in the game, and maybe he faces J-So, and then it's maybe a different story. But I thought that was interesting because even though it resulted in an out, Callaspo's pinch hit at bat stretched out the pitch count for Sanchez, and maybe that helped get him out of the game.
Well, what was equally impressive for me, you pointed it out, Glenn, that he had never gone beyond 110 pitches. And with Callaspo coming up to the plate, being the professional that he is, I felt that if he had a good at-bat, he could be the difference of getting Sanchez out of the game. lo and behold, that's exactly what happened.
So what a finish. The A's get 2 hits total through the first 8 innings. They get 3 hits, a single, a double, and a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning, and it's a Donaldson walk-off of Joe Nathan. What a night, what a ball game. And these 2 teams will wrap up this series tomorrow afternoon. Final score on a Donaldson walk-off 3-run homer. It's the Oakland A's 3, and it's the Detroit Tigers 1. What a night. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Brody and Bip starts right now.